Hey everyone, Jeremy here from Actually Understand, where you watch the video and then you actually understand. This video is going to be the first video on my channel, so a little bit of an intro. Really just an overview for studying for the SAT. How do you study for the SAT? How should I think about it? How should I approach it? And I would say there's a specific way to think about it so that you don't miss anything and so that you do really well in the test. I will also talk a bit about my qualifications as an SAT tutor in this video, because if you're watching this anytime near when I upload it, this is not only my first video, but it's basically a brand new channel. So I'm brand new to YouTube, but not at all brand new to SAT tutoring. In short, I've been an SAT tutor for almost 3 years now. I've had students get into some very prestigious schools, NYU, Northwestern, Columbia. I've had a lot of students go from 900 score range to 1200, almost 1300 score range. I've had a lot of students go from 12 to 1300 range to 1500 range. And I've had quite a few students go specifically, once we can get you to around like 1300, it's definitely 100% doable to get you to 1550 range, even closer to 1600. And I've had quite a few students specifically kind of in that path of they either are at or they get to a point where they can score 1300, and then we can get them to a point where they score around a 1500 or more. And so basically, the SAT is not the tests for AP art class, where it could be abstract and there's a lot and there's very high level thinking that goes on. It's very systematic. It's not abstract. There are a number of different types of problems you'll see in both reading and writing and math. And for a specific type of problem, there's a handful, not more than 3 for most problems, not more than 3 tools or rules that you need to know. And we can say tools, rules, any word like that, but really 3 things you need to know to either think about or to do or to look out for a specific type of problem. And the entire process of studying for the test and doing well just comes down to, if you don't know what those tools are, if you don't know how to approach that type of problem, then you won't get anywhere with it. If you do, then all you have to do is practice those tools, and then you've got it. And so what I plan for this series to be is first just an explanation of every single type of problem and all of the tools for all of those problems, which would then in total be everything you need to know to get everything right on the test. And then just practice problems after that. So here, step 1 in these 3 steps I have is understand each problem type. What tools do I want to use for this problem? There are, this is a reading and writing problem, so I will tell you for reading and writing, the very first most fundamental tool is the 4-step process. Now, what is the 4-step process? The 4-step process are 4 steps that you can take, and you can approach it the same way for every, and I mean every single reading and writing problem. You just do the same 4 things for every single reading and writing problem, and that's, I would say, the first most fundamental part of the reading and writing section. Those 4 steps are going to be in a different video, but I will tell you step 1 of those 4 steps for every single problem is to read the question. And then from there, depending on the type of problem, we do maybe different things. Okay. For this problem, we're going to read the question. Which choice completes the text so that it conforms to conventions of standard English? Okay. Every single question on the test that has that question is a grammar problem, what I would classify as a grammar problem. And there are a lot of not a lot, but there are some tools that we want to then pull out as soon as we identify it as a grammar problem. Without spoiling too much, because I don't want a lot of the tools to be in this video, I just want the overview to be this video, and then the tools to be kind of have their own spotlight in other videos. But one of the tools is, hey, if it's a grammar problem, the first thing I do is I look at the answer choices. So when we do that, we see is, were, have been, and are. That is a verb. That's different variations of the verb to be. When we see, this is a tool specific to this type of grammar problem. When we see a grammar problem where the answer choices are different variations of a verb, immediately we want to check one specific thing, which is, what are the subjects to these verbs? Is it a singular subject or is it a plural subject? And so all we want to do is we want to think, okay, is. If I was using it in a sentence, would the noun, would the subject of that verb, would there be one of them or more than one? He is a good dog. Okay, one dog only, right? So that's singular. The subject is singular. Were. The dogs and cats were awesome. Okay, multiple subjects. Dogs and cats were. So that's plural. It has a plural subject. Have been. The dogs and cats have been good. Okay, plural like the last one. Are. The dogs and cats are good. Okay, plural. When we are in a situation where it's three plural verbs, or the subjects are plural that go with these verbs, and one singular, or vice versa, if it's three singular and one plural, the answer 100% of the time, the correct answer is the one singular or the one plural. So without reading the text at all, just from checking that, which once you have some practice could take only a few seconds, you immediately know the correct answer to this problem is A. No need to read the text, no need to do anything else, and that will be correct 100% of the time. The biggest caveat is make sure while you're practicing this concept to not misidentify something as having a plural subject or singular when it actually has a singular or plural. So as long as you do that part correctly, then you can just pick the one singular, like the is here, or if it was is, was, has been, those would all have a singular subject, and then are, that would be the only plural in that theoretical situation, and so it would always be that one plural by itself. If there are two plural, two singular, or anything different, if it doesn't fall into the category of three singular and one plural, or three plural and one singular, then you have to do the problem. Then we go approach the problem using our other tools that we will learn in other videos. So step one, understand each problem type. What tools do I want to use for this problem? You have to be introduced to, like this example, but for both math and reading and writing, every single different type of problem and the specific tools we use for that type of problem. Step two, really just a continuation of step one. You have to practice that. You have to just be introduced to all of those, and then you have to keep practicing. So here's another example. Here it's a math problem. In right triangle RST, the sum of the measures of angle R and angle S is 90 degrees. The value of sine of R is root 15 over 4. What is the value of cosine of S? So this is a trig problem. There are certain tools we would pull out for this one. But one specific tool that we need to know is that if I have two angles that add up to 90 degrees, that then means sine of one of those angles equals cosine of the other. And I will show you why that's true, but that is the rule. Okay, we moved over to this so we can draw on this. The reason that's the rule is if I have a right triangle, and we're going to pretend that is a perfectly drawn triangle. Let's say this is A, this is B, and this is C, right? And let's say this is angle X, and this is angle Y. Sine of angle X, right? What is sine? SOHCAHTOA, opposite over hypotenuse, right? So we can pretend we're standing at this angle here. We look out into the triangle. What do we hit? We hit B. That is opposite. Hypotenuse is always the line across from the right angle. So in this case, C. So sine of x, and I am writing this with a mouse, so excuse me for that, is sine of x equals B over C. Cosine of y, well, we're standing at y. When we're looking for cosine, SOHCAHTOA, adjacent over hypotenuse, we always say, okay, there's two lines that make up this angle. One of them is adjacent, one of them is hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is always the hypotenuse. It's always across from the right angle. So this is the hypotenuse. It's always the same. The hypotenuse doesn't change for a specific triangle when we're going between looking at sine, cosine, or tan. So C is still the hypotenuse, and then what is the other line this angle is touching? Oh, it's B. So B is the adjacent. And then from there, adjacent over hypotenuse, well, this is the hypotenuse. So cosine of y equals B over C. That's the same as sine of x. Because for these two acute angles, sine, the opposite for one of them, is the adjacent for the other one. This is why the rule exists. If understanding that helps you understand the rule, then that's awesome. I think ideally you want to understand why. But the thing to memorize here is that if two angles add up to 90, by the way, in a triangle, what's the sum of any triangle? 180 degrees. 180 degrees minus 90 minus the right angle is 90. 180 minus 90 is 90. So in a right triangle, the three angles add up to 180. If you take away the right angle, the two acute angles, here it would be x and y, they have to add up to 90. So when two angles add up to 90 degrees, they're going to behave like two acute angles in a right triangle. And we just saw two acute angles in a right triangle. Sine of one of them equals cosine of the other. And cosine of one of them equals sine of the other. So anytime we have two angles, they add up to 90, that means sine of one of them equals cosine of the other, and vice versa. So R and S add up to 90 degrees. That means sine of R equals cosine of S. And so the correct answer to this question would be root 15 over 4, which is B. Okay, so that was how we do that problem. And it's just another example of a specific type of problem. We have specific tools we pull out. There's certain stuff we need to know. This is something that is less common in terms of we just have to have some rule memorized. Between reading and writing and math, there definitely will be for math problems that there will be more often problems that there's certain things you just have to have memorized, certain rules you have to know. It's less common for English, but you can definitely get away with a lot of problems, you can get a lot of problems correct without knowing too many different memorized facts or rules if you just know how to approach certain types of problems. And so step 3, final step, once you have seen all of the different types of problems for both sections, and you're practicing and you're practicing and you're practicing, then you just want to focus on taking practice tests and timing yourself. Because at that point, you've got it. You have everything you need to do exceptionally well on the test. All you need to do now is make sure you can do it in the amount of time that you're given. And so those are the 3 steps to studying for the SAT. Learn and understand all of the different problem types, and then learn and practice all of the tools for those problem types, and then keep practicing and then time yourself until you can do everything that you need to do in an appropriate amount of time. Thank you guys very much for watching this video. This is my very first video. Please, if you liked it, like, comment, subscribe, all of the things that every YouTuber says to do. Please give me feedback in the comments. Please tell me what you want to see next. If this video completely blows up, I will definitely fast track how many different videos I release and how many different tools I give you. And if you ever want to inquire about anything about me or the channel, hit me up at actuallyunderstand at gmail.com. It's just the name of the YouTube channel at gmail.com. Hopefully you found this helpful, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.